once. I looked into those special Cyclops you mentioned, Mr. Nick. You did? That's great. I really appreciate it. A red Cyclops protects a secret a person is constantly trying to hide. If the person folds under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out. Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of the Detective Fulbright and Director Cosmos. But a black Cyclops protects a secret from the deepest place in a person's heart. A secret that that person isn't even consciously aware of. So even they don't know it's there. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Okay, so all I have to do is break the Cyclops. According to my research, black Cyclops is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they are ripped off by force, it could cause permanent damage to a person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Pause. Can you stay by Athena's side? She must be suffering under the weight of such a heavy burden. Alright. Will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick? I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all my focus and strength. You can't do that if I'm there. I'll just hold you back. No, that's not it. I just meant I can relax and concentrate if I know you were with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pause. Alright. I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick. Good. And then my mind is at ease. I better get ready. I'll just tidy up the evidence and take out what I don't need. It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago. Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. The roof has been completely blown off and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground. Court, or some vast amount thereof, is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes. Hold it. Not the festival, old man. This is a proper official trial. Take this more seriously or you'll start hearing the bones of the hostages snap. Please try not to upset Miss Blackwell. I'm begging you. Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes. This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce. What did you say? Edgeworth? Do you not hear what I just said to his honor? However, this ridiculous farce is a very important meaning for our legal system. We call the case of the UR1 incident in which the prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case ushered in the arduous dark age of the law. I see what you're after. If we can find the real truth behind that case today. Precisely, the darkness will be dispelled and glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case. For 7 years, 7 Black Rose refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Push yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, White, but the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. The prosecution used to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the first degree.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you'd better bring it.
If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
There's immense tension between us. It's like we're picking up right where we left off. It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of the false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. If I was doubt that Athena's innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy. The true culprit is a spy. It's going to be hard to convince anyone of what that when I barely believe it myself. I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy. No then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. No need for the Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor. I'm here as a simple prosecutor. Very well. Your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although I've been known of late to give an impressive opening statement myself. In all the trials I've ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement. Of course, you're right. I was just joking, just having a little fun. I wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. Let's start with a brief overview of the UR1 incident. The incident occurred at the Como Space Center 7 years ago on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Metis was killed in the robotics lab on the 4th floor. Athena's mother. Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder. And two, this photo, which captures the moment of the crime. Very incriminating indeed. It would appear that the only conclusion is that the prosecutor Blackwell did indeed. Hold it! Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now hurry up and call the witness. Excuse me, Miss Blackwell. We must follow proper procedure for these things, you know. Or perhaps we should heed her wishes, Your Honor. She is the child's sponsor, after all. Besides, the room is chilly. It's sitting for too long can't be good for your back. Oh, you are very kind to show such concern for the welfare of the elderly. As good as ever playing the court puppeteer, I see. The prosecution calls its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 long years. New testimony. And who is this witness anyway? Call me fooled by its name. In justice we trust. What are you doing here? I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackwell. She says she's too busy, what with confining and threatening the hostages and all. It doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Cloaco. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you. Believe her brother, innocent Miss Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation. And though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted. And I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go! Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. someone else who was at the scene at the time. They say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moonwalk, then why the Wollen case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. The only person smart enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in the face of the official ruling, huh? But this case he mentions, there were other Wollen cases like that one in the lab. But they're not for traveling. They're apparently for moving parts and equipment. I vaguely remember seeing 3 cases, all different sizes. At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the watch. And they had a perfectly good reason to think that too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And that camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene of the case. I can see why the footage helped to bring his trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. That case, by the way, was later discovered outside on the Space Center grounds. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found? She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown when Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give proper testimony. And there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been. So what you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi. That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl? Of course the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yes, he's done it quite a few times in court. The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it. I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting? I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. White. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes, for her only choice was to kill her own mother. Order in the court. What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself. But we must proceed. Mr. White, if you could, protect the Fulbright. Please refer to the notes. Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time they say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moonwalk, then why the Wollen case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. And the only person smart enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes.
Hold it!
But that's nothing more than conjecture. It's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case? I think it was the moonwalk.
Objection!
There were 3 cases at the scene, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moonwalk was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there just to move that rock.
Objection!
Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in the case? Well, Mr. White, can you? Yikes, give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case? I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwood carried from the scene. I just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat. I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. If it's true, that is. This is a crime scene photo taken after the Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we have to do is compare this with this photo of Prosecutor Blackwood to see what's missing. He took something with him. This should be in one of these photos. Maybe luck, don't fail me now. Alright then, Mr. White, let me hear your theory. What did Prosecutor Blackwood take from the scene of the murder?
Take that!
Please notice that there's a robotic part on the top of the card in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime scene, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part of something that was taken from the scene of the crime. You do appear to be right. I don't see it in this second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which, what are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance per eyeball. Stingy, what happened to the age of free previews? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be an arm from that robot there? Well, now that you have mentioned it, it does, doesn't it? This case is still too big to be practical for just a moonwalk and a robot arm. Was it really just a one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe. I believe there was another robot at the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, his defense is asserting that it was this other robot that was in the case. What?
Objection!
You can't be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of the one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
I know for a fact it is a robot arm. I can't even tell which robot it belonged to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was at the time or not. But Mr. White, I thought you were more of a technology illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned. That's well, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belonged to.
Take that!
The robot in this picture is named Ponko. Let's take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild. The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandages wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko. Order in the court. Order, I say. Prosecutor Ezra, what you have to say to this? You can see that the robot is about the same size as a child. It cannot grab its knees and curl itself up into a ball. Even if it were the largest of the cases, the robot could have possibly fit in there. Its does come off about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. His your point. The robot is much taller than that. They got me there. So then the Prosecute Black will make Punk offend case by. Of course Punker would fit. All Prosecute Black has to do is dismantle her. I say that the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case. This new robot assembly device. Remember anything in a flash, push this dismantle button. Sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick? Sounds rather violent, but Mr. White does have a point there.
Objection!
So that there was a body on the table with robots are dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead? You mean the sword? Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Blackwood, I'd like your opinion on it as a woman of science. Is it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. The joints aren't made of a very tough material, a very precise through them. Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Punko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Punko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation. You get me? That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. But you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by the bloody katana. Like the dress of Ponko is scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet. Not hearing this. Therefore, what was transported inside that case was not the defendant but a robot. Miss Sex never was at the scene at the time of the murder. My head, my body, where am I? Order in the court. It's true that Funko was found in pieces after the murder. And I admit I repaired her myself afterwards. Yes, I'm finally making some progress. If we have gone at least one step closer, we will both Athena and prosecute Blacko innocent.
Objection!
Well played, Mr. Wright. You made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot. Alright, what's going on here? It's never good when he plays things this straight. This is the prosecution withdraws claim that the defendant was carried from the scene. No, Your Honor, my claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
Ponko and Miss Sex couldn't have been inside that case.
Objection!
The notion that the case was used to kill Miss Sex was Miss Blackwell's theory. I've been of a different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense. That's good. He's been one step ahead of me this whole time. In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene? Simple. The first only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body as if he were holding something or someone. It's hardly evidence. Proof this coat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The proof was found on the front of it and the stain had a distinctive shape. A blood stain of a distinctive shape. Please continue, Prosecutor Edward. hours ago. The defender was known to constantly wear a certain item. There's only one in the ward. A special pair of headphones made just for her. She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research. So the blood seems to be the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then the person is supposed to a black crow's coat like a stamp. A gruesome stamp indeed. Black repaired with sex had been hit by splatter away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena's sex was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument. Order! The defendant was indeed at the scene that deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we've also said that the robot was there at the scene as well.
Objection!
I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. Think that no, but you can't say the possibility isn't there. Take the full point. Was no robot in question at the time? No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was consumed, unrelated to the case. But as it turns out, the robot was actually intimately related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand. Robot witness? Order, order! In the court! Prosecutor Edroff, what do you think about this? Mr. White has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. So why not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore with him. Very well. I will allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko. Witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is not Witness. My name is Ponko! Yes, I realize that, but when you are at the witness stand, you are the witness. No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. What an inflexible little robot. You're the last person who should be calling anything inflexible. You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. Oh boy. How precious. Alright, Ponko. I want to ask you some questions. Questions? You have questions? Away! What are your questions? I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Metis. 7 years ago, on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab. Certainly. Just one moment. Certain data. Sort complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab. This robot's testimony is necessary to the case after all. This is great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. Murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable. It seems really to adopt Ponko as another grandchild. So, little Ponko, you can give us your testimony today. I went to the robotics lab about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. As I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I didn't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room, and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There is no data after that point. It sounds like the defendant was, without question, at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. What? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that the witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding and capabilities to express itself are limited. So what are you suggesting? The witness's statement needs to be interpreted. For example, the term hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. They don't, but... Yes, what this witness statements are telling us is... The defendant stabbed the victim with the motor weapon during this moment. What? Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse? Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena is usually so quiet, so I was surprised. Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean they argued. I see. Murder after a heated argument. Then the victim fell down. I agree that does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that. When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory. You may as well admit defeat now, right? A cross-examination would be useless. Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never useless. Until now. Think about it, robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. I see you haven't changed. You never will want to worry about wasting time. Very well. Even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. White. I'll show you both just how fruitful any cross-examination can be. I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down after that. I was recharging, so I don't know anything.
Hold it!
I don't want to delve too deeply here, but... Can you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment? Mommy Metis was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound. Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? These robots have a heartbeat detection system. He mentioned it. I do remember reading something like that before. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute. That means Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment. Ponko, how did Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see. The moment he fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging then. Well, the unlucky timing. If you had heard anything after that, you could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry. The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear it detected an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. After Mommy Master's heart started pounding and surprisingly fell by the window. There was a round window on the workbench side of the well. Workbench, huh? Of course, we're talking about the table to the right of where the giant robot is now. Is this stuff a critical parkour statement just now? Your Honor, I believe the statement is critical. I'd like to add it to our testimony. Very well. Parker, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl. Mommy Metis fell down near the round window on the workbench side of the well.
Objection!
Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough. I was out for... Hooray! I'm so happy. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However... her body was discovered under the operating table. But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations. Exactly, Your Honor. We just learned a new crucial fact. I'm going to explain the two very different locations of the body. I'll tell you what. An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. So the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Parker observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. I'm very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder was committed for poor little Parker here. Yes, as you just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother, nothing more.
Objection!
Right. It's been 8 years, but you said this is green as ever. Green? I can't quite see Miss Wright in anything but the blue suit. Blue's my favorite color. What can I say? If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have had it moved for her. Moved before, but Mrs. Sykes and Dr. Sykes are the only ones there. I agree. Since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system, it would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim are the only ones present. And maybe you should just move the body. Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Ponko, allow me to ask you a question. My name is Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko! I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table? Yes I did. Athena asked me to. Athena asked you to? What did you move, little Ponko? I don't know. Unless something had an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. An ID tag, you say? Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what a thing is. The people in the lab did mention something about that. Recognizes people by scanning the spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag, it said.